Jane, you can start.
Thank you, Leondine. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And on behalf of Atlas, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you all today. My name is Jane Turner, and I'm the coordinator of the Atlas Special Interest Groups. As you'll be aware, the Atlas Association for Tourism and Leisure Education and Research is a global association. We currently have 140 member universities from across 45 universities, all of whom are dedicated to advancing education within the fields of tourism and leisure studies. Atlas currently hosts 18 special interest groups, or as we commonly refer to them as SIGs. And today marks the inaugural meeting of one of our newest special interest groups on artificial intelligence and robotics in tourism and hospitality. I'm sure you'll agree that the AI and robotics in tourism and hospitality special interest group is very much needed, as we're increasingly seeing technologies transforming tourism-related operations and experiences. The increased reliance on AI and robotic technologies is also presenting significant challenges for tourism and hospitality industries. We hope that today's webinar and follow-up work pertaining to the special interest group will bring academics and researchers together who are working in this field and provide valuable insights and new knowledge. So on behalf of Atlas, I would like to thank you again for attending today's webinar, and I'll now hand over to Dr. Angela Wright at Munster Technological University in Ireland, who will introduce today's session as one of our lead moderators and coordinators for the special interest group. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jane, and thanks for opening and launching our event today. So as Jane mentioned, my name is Angela Wright, and I'm a senior lecturer, researcher and director of the MBA programme at Munster Technological University in Ireland. So I've always had a passion for research in tourism and in the tourism sector in particular, and my PhD was originally in this area. However, over the past year, I've been seconded on a Government of Ireland funded project to examine the area of artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence for the university. So I specifically looked at the impact of artificial intelligence and generative AI on research and research supervision for all staff, and especially the tourism and hospitality staff. So the rapidly growing area has led to a very sharp learning curve for me, of course, and I always default though to the EU and the European Commission for guidance, and also, of course, to the Artificial Intelligence Act. Now, we're all very well aware that the last year has witnessed impactful disruptive technology built on artificial intelligence, where generative artificial intelligence tools and LLMs, or large language models, have totally exploded. Now, while acknowledging that artificial intelligence and Gen AI will provide many advantages to the tourism sector, the fact still remains that there are significant risks to us all. And we saw that, of course, yesterday with the shutdown in Spain and Portugal. So when we look to research and education in particular, this area is particularly at risk with heightened concerns for educators around academic integrity and research, ethical research practices, of course, built-in bias, GDPR, copyright issues, and generally there's no clear consensus really in terms of the benefits versus the risk to education and, of course, for us, tourism education. Now, open discussions are needed, and these platforms are going to be very helpful for us, and we will work through this current phase. The EU are taking the global lead, as I already mentioned, with the introduction of the Artificial Intelligence Act for 2024, now enacted. However, the Act is mainly for the regulation of the development of the AI tools. The EU Commission provides some guidelines for its use. However, they do warn us to be careful that Gen AI in its current state, for example, provides large-scale generation of disinformation, with content returns to prompts can be misleading. Also, unethical use will have significant societal consequences for us, inequality and sustainability concerns with significant impacts on the well-being of our planet, which of course impacts on the tourism and hospitality sector. So now to start today, I would like to provide the first definition. There'll be others later, but I would like to provide a definition of artificial intelligence as provided by the AI EU Act. So for the purpose of this regulation, the following definitions apply. They tell us AI system means a machine-based system that is designed to operate with varying levels of autonomy and that may exhibit adaptiveness after deployment, and that for explicit or implicit objectives infers from the input it receives how to generate outputs such as predictions, content recommendations, or decisions that can influence physical or virtual environments. So risk in this context means the combination of the probability of an occurrence of harm and the severity of that harm. So now that's it for me, and I would like to hand you over to Alzbeta, who will introduce herself next. Thank you very much. Alzbeta, I think you're on mute. Sorry, Alzbeta.
Thank you. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Angela. I am Alžbeta Királova from Ambis University, Prague, Czech Republic, and I am teacher of tourism, marketing, tourism management, with a focus also on social media and AI. As you can see on the screen, I put together some statistics about the AI in travel and tourism for 2025. Because artificial intelligence is transforming the travel, tourism, hospitality, and leisure industries, reshaping how businesses operate and travelers experience the world. From personalized travel recommendations and chatbot, providing 24/7 customer services to AI-driven system optimizing operations and improving guest experiences, AI is revolutionizing how destinations and service cater to diverse needs. AI isn't just about enhancing efficiency. It's about creating more innovative, immersive travel experiences. AI also plays a crucial role in personalizing interactions and predicting customer needs. The possibilities are endless, as AI allows the industry to push the boundaries of creativity, sustainability, and accessibility, all while delivering exceptional and customized experiences for global travelers. By embracing AI, the travel and tourism sector can offer more intuitive, sustainable, and engaging adventures, ensuring that the future of travel is more advanced and more human-centered. So I believe that you've been able to check the statistic on the screen. And now I would like to hand over to Stanislav Ivanov, who will introduce himself and his research institute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stanislav Ivanov, and I have different hats. I'm director of Zangador Research Institute, which is a private research entity in Bulgaria. I'm also a professor in tourism economics at Varna University of Management. I serve in the board of CEST, which is the oldest tourism research organization in the world, and also in IFIT, which is the organization for the International Federation for Information Technology in Tourism, and also serve as founding editors of two academic journals. One is Urbanomics, the Journal of the Automated Economy, and the European Journal of Tourism Research. I would like to talk about robotics, because different people have different perceptions about what robots are. My personal favorite definition is the one by the International Organization for Standardization, and namely, this is a robot is a programmed, actuated mechanism with a degree of autonomy to perform locomotion, manipulation, or positioning. Put in human language, this otherwise seemingly complex definition means that we are talking about a device. It's a physical device which we can interact with, we can hug it, we can kick it, but it is a device. Online bots, they are not considered robots, but devices like the one you see here, they are considered robots. They have also some degree of autonomy, which means that part of their decisions they take independently of human supervision, but they can be programmed. We can have different types of robots that can be used in tourism and hospitality. We're talking about industrial service robots, social robots, and they can be used for different tasks like information provision, for cleaning, for transporting different items, for example, room service delivery, for entertainment, for disinfection, as waiters in restaurants, as cooks, for cutting grass in gardens, and many other applications. the possibilities are endless, and I trust that this special interest group will move together with the research in the field of robotics. Thank you. Angela, now back to you.
Thanks very much, Stanislav. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker today. So I'd like to introduce you to Patrick Shields. And Patrick is undertaking a PhD in the area of artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence and the impact on the tourism and hospitality sector. So the PhD is part of the TU Rise Scholarship Programme, and it's actually funded by the Government of Ireland, the European Union, and our own university, Munster Technological University. So the research seeks to explore ways to nurture and support innovative enterprises while elevating the global competitiveness of Irish tourism and hospitality in Ireland within an AI and a Gen AI context. So Patrick's key interests centre on employee behavioural management, as well as ethics and governance for generative AI deployment within enterprise. So prior to commencing his PhD, Patrick was a director with the luxury Irish hoteliers, the Cliff Group, from 2022 to the beginning of 2025, having joined the company initially as general manager of Cliff House Hotel in West Waterford in the south of Ireland in 2018. So I'm delighted to welcome Patrick today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angela Wright, and to everybody for having me today to talk through some of the early part of my research. As Dr. Angela Wright said, I'm currently undertaking a PhD here in Ireland since January of this year. It's part of the TU Rise programme, which is funded by Munster Technological University, where I'm attending in Cork, the Government of Ireland and the European Union. The project is titled Exploring the Optimisation of Ireland's Response Rate to the Challenges and Opportunities Afforded to Industry and Enterprise by Generative AI. And as Dr. Angela Wright said, some of the project aims include ensuring ways to nurture and support enterprise in their Gen AI adoption journeys. This in turn will contribute to the global competitiveness of Irish-based companies and aligns with the Government of Ireland targets for 75% of Irish businesses to have actively integrated AI into their operations by the year 2030. So why is the government so keen for that adoption to happen? Well, according to the AI Economy in Ireland 2025 report, which was produced by Trinity Business School here in Dublin in collaboration with Microsoft Ireland, AI is expected to contribute up to 250 billion euro to Ireland's economy by 2035. So this has led me to the research question, which is on your screen now in white letters. So as someone who's commenced this PhD on a full-time basis, having been employed in hotels for over 20 years, I'm interested in not just the technical aspects of AI deployment, but also the behavioral aspects which influence that adoption in the area, which is part of my predominant background, small to medium independent hotels. So a little bit more about me. My most recent role was on a full-time basis with the only hotel group in Ireland with 3 Michelin stars. I'm accompanied here by Chef Tony Parkin. He'll soon form part of an Apple TV documentary on life inside the kitchen, and working in these type of environments over a number of years certainly tweaks your interest in behavioral management as you deal with high-level kitchens and those types of organizations. Previous to this, my areas of employment have predominantly been in either small to medium enterprises or independent hotels across North America, Australia, Canada, and at home in Ireland. Actually, following finishing school, I commenced a degree in hospitality management at Munster Technological University, and my first thesis interest was in behavioral management, as during my internship in the US, I was fascinated with how the owners of that family-owned business caused their employees to follow their mission, their ethics, their values, and how it played out in their everyday working life. So since I commenced this PhD, it's been difficult to ignore the news cycle. This is a headline from one of our national newspapers in Ireland, which speaks about the value to our economy of artificial intelligence, but the growing feeling that small to medium-sized enterprises in particular are starting to struggle with that integration. This news article followed the report, as mentioned in my first slide, from Microsoft and Trinity College Dublin. And while this headline here is extremely positive about the contribution to the economy, this report actually emphasized in particular the struggle of small to medium-sized enterprise. That follows a number of reports which speak about this issue. The 2025 McKinsey Global Survey, for example, found that those at larger organizations were more than twice as likely to have a roadmap for Gen AI integration. The AI Economy in Ireland 2025 report, which I mentioned, also found that SMEs adopt AI at 30% lower rates than multinational organizations. A 2024 Microsoft report also found that Indigenous businesses in Ireland were in particular falling behind in the AI adoption sphere, so to speak. So what did the report actually say? Well, not to go into too much detail, but a lot of the issues that these types of businesses are facing is an overall struggle with the integration of AI, challenging barriers to the adoption, and significantly behind multinationals, even though AI does not have to be adopted in standalone solutions. A lot of applications that suppliers are providing to these businesses are starting to integrate AI themselves and solutions within those applications. So despite this, we're finding that small to medium-sized enterprises are still struggling, and a part of this may be because they may not have the support, oversight, expertise, and resources of their colleagues in multinational or large group operations. And the government has noticed this, and they've started to take action. So as part of this project, for this PhD I'm undertaking, a line in that project states that the Government of Ireland's National AI Strategy includes the objective that 75% of businesses have it fully integrated in their operations by 2030. This strategy was actually updated this past November to take into account advancements in AI technology and regulation, and to announce the development of a national campaign to raise awareness among SMEs of the benefits of AI adoption and the supports available. In preparing to this presentation, I also saw that the London Chamber of Commerce, for example, are also establishing mentorships and programs for SMEs to help them with this AI adoption journey. And a lot of the research and literature that I've looked at have said that hotels in particular are slow adopters, especially in the realm of independent hotels or small to medium-sized enterprises. This creates a significant problem, as in Ireland, over 99% of businesses are classed as SMEs. In some hospitality and tourism categories, 100% of businesses are SMEs. This can have an effect on our overall competitiveness as a country, so the government are taking note. A couple of quotes that I came across brought this issue home to me, and why might that issue be taking place? This particular quote says, most digital transformation strategies fail because while we prioritize implementing software and tools, are we forgetting about the impact on people, process, and organizational culture? Further, Roberts et al. 2021 state that people have the power to make an innovation a success or a failure. Psychological factors clearly have an impact, but these are not fully explored. Consequently, an understanding of these factors is essential for organizations who wish to accelerate technology adoption. And for me here, the dots are simply not connecting, because the literature is also very keen to point out that SMEs are recognized for a lot of their strengths, which are innate to those businesses, such as innovation, agile decision-making, and ability to adapt quickly. Also, Rajaram and Tingwale and their study in 2024 on SMEs in particular stated that with little technical expertise or financial resources, SMEs can leverage Gen AI technology to streamline work process and unleash innovation, improving their product offering and long-term competitiveness for reasons such as the one I stated about adopting applications from third parties, which they already use. So there is a disconnect here, which is causing the gap to widen despite these attributes and strengths. What else is the literature finding? So since I started to look at this in January, the focus seems to be predominantly on technical rather than behavioral factors. It's predominantly applied to large enterprise. Human capital and financial resource constraints and lack of technical expertise is definitely impacting upon small to medium-sized enterprises and small to medium independent hotels, which I'm looking at in particular. It highlights that these businesses are highly interpersonal and they're impacted by significant behavioral factors, and they remain largely unprepared in policy and procedures. And Dr. Angela Wright mentioned, the EU AI Act and policy coming into play and regulation, and this will continue to evolve. This is an issue because in a lot of these SMEs, shadow usage of AI is taking place even where there is no guidelines. So I've experienced that in the past where I've heard of stories of ChatGPT generating documents. These documents could potentially land in an employee file. And where do you sit with that when it all comes down to the crunch? Can that even stand up in a one-to-one meeting with an employee, etc.? So there are huge factors to consider here when looking at this topic. Research on GenAI adoption for independent hotels at the moment remains scarce, and research of GenAI adoption through the lens of technology acceptance models, for example, could provide a particularly useful lens for tourism and hospitality enterprise. One particular lens that I've been looking at when looking to get on top of this subject is the unified theory of the acceptance and use of technology, which was designed by Venkatesh et al. And published in 2003. And in this particular models, scholars found that behavioral intention and use behavior are affected by 4 key determinants, which are demonstrated here on the left, and also a number of variables which are demonstrated along the bottom. By adopting a theoretical lens like that, a lot of what UT-AUT does is it can guide your methodological insights. So by selecting a technology acceptance model to look at generative AI adoption, you can focus on the core model constructs of that model, and that can form your theoretical framework. Hypotheses can be established directly out of those constructs, and in thus adopting a deductive approach where we start from the theory and we work through the constructs, hypotheses to establish data. Quantitative survey was found as the method most aligned with the UT-AUT model, and in technology adoption model research, which would lead us to our data collection and analysis. So in preparing my research proposal and looking at the methodology, it was found that these practices actually tend to follow a particular methodological structure, which I found particularly useful. And what I decided to do was align my research aims along those constructs as well. So I won't read these out in detail, but I have several aims here. And as you can see, each one is aligned to the constructs of the model that I was discussing, whether that be performance expectancy, effort expectancy, facilitating conditions, etc. So what I want to do fundamentally is to develop practical recommendations to support generative AI adoption in small to medium independent hotels, with behavioral insights generated which can be transferable to alternative sectors. Looking at the behavioral factors as someone experienced in the industry rather than just the technical, which of course is also extremely important, but what is causing our teams to use AI? How can they be better supported to use AI effectively? And what are the conditions under which they effectively adopt AI, which the literature is starting to point to as an area that they are struggling with. For example, there is a large company here in Cork that's a multinational company. I'm aware that they have an AI committee or board which tests and pilots every single AI application that comes into their organization. That's deployed in a very controlled manner. But small to medium-sized enterprises do not have those resources or potentially don't have access to that expertise. So we need greater insights into possibly alternative directions that they can take and how they can be better supported. That's just a quick overview of my research. I will be updating my own LinkedIn account with the various stages of the research journey as I go on it. I would love to connect with you. Feel free to reach out to me on that handle, and it's a pleasure to present to you here today on that.
Thanks very much, Patrick. And it's over to Elspeth now to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce you Mr. Jan Doležal from Smart Guide, Czech Republic. Jan is an expert for cybernetics, and he studied in at Harvard Business School. He has 10 years of consultation practice at McKinsey and is experienced from several startups. He's currently leading the travel tech startup called Smart Guide. Jan is also a strong problem solver, high energy leader, and a digital and technology expert. He speaks conversational Mandarin, has extensive international experience, and is a passionate traveler. In his interest belong Chinese Central European cooperation, technology, telecommunication, smart environments, international entrepreneurship, sustainability of mankind. His specialties are management consulting, business development, international project management, strategy, advanced data analytics, lean operation, technology, telecommunication networks, control system, energy efficiency, China and Central Eastern Europe. The company Smart Guide is a ready-built platform the company called Smart Guide has a Smart Guide ready-built platform for destinations to publish engaging and certified COVID-safe guides. Destinations can create a guide for free in the Smart Guide content management system in a matter of hours, or have company's expert team prepare it turnkey for them. They can then offer the guide publicly for free or sell it to visitors for extra revenue, and they'll never have to worry about the maintenance. So please welcome Jan Doležal from Smart Guide.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with such an international crowd, and thank you for probably the most detailed introduction I ever had. Please allow me to share the screen and try to inspire you with a few practical use cases of the work that we do with the DMOs on AI. So I would like to go through 4 use cases today and show really practically how this works. But before we dive into that, please allow me to introduce Smart Guide a little bit for the background. So we saw that DMOs struggled developing their own travel apps and they were reinventing the wheel. And the AI and the progresses in technology raised the bar even higher. So we developed Smart Guide as a ready-made platform with the technology for self-guided tours and for smart destination management, so that the DMOs and tourism organizations, they can use and access the best technology without the need for own IT development. Now, the Smart Guide app turns a traveler's phone into an engaging personal guide. You can download it on the App Store for free so that you can try it, and it guides you whenever it suits you at your own pace, outside of the crowds, and tells you interesting stories from the local guides about the places that you visit and in the language that you speak, also offline, and we can spice it up with augmented reality or other interactivity. Now, the technology is very robust, so we work wherever you would use a guide. So we work with several national tourism boards to publish guides for the entire country. Regions publish, let's say, regional driving tour that connect different cities and villages in the regions. And then you can get off and you can explore the cities, perhaps on walking tours, biking tours, and even you can go inside attractions. So we do guides for castles, museums. It works even indoors, offline, even underground. So basically, wherever you would expect a guide. And the destinations typically offer the guides for free. Attractions can also sell it in the same way how they used to sell the traditional audio guides. But let me dive into the use cases of AI. And the first one is personalized recommendations using machine learning. Why this is important? Tourists are back after COVID in full swing, but they again suffocate the popular tourist spots. And Venice went as far as hiring armed guards to control the crowds. But just a few steps away, there are many interesting, undiscovered hidden gems like this authentic gondola workshop in Venice. But why everyone flocks to the same spots? So the problem 20 years ago was with tourist guidebooks that everyone had the same Lonely Planet guidebook or Frommer's or whatever other guide. And when people followed these guidebooks, they went to the same places. It was called the Lonely Planet effect. Then the search engines took over, but the way how search engines like Google are built, they prioritize the most popular results. So again, if you search what to do in Venice, you will find the articles that show you the top 10 spots in Venice, and these are the most popular. And now, with the rise of chatbots trained on such data from the nature how Gen AI works, clustering the same relevant information together, they actually do the same and lead people to the same places again. So we actually got inspired by YouTube, because when you open a YouTube channel, you will get completely different recommendations on videos to watch than when I open or when anyone else opens the YouTube channel. So we basically took the recommendation engine and built it for travel places. We used 20 million points of interest that were labeled to train kind of a traditional machine learning algorithm. This has nothing to do with Gen AI, to recognize what any travel content is about. And then as a traveler uses the guide, on the background, we see their actions and how they consume the content. And based on that, we automatically build up their interest profile along more than 100 dimensions. And then when you use the guide for a little while and you go to London, of course, everyone wants to see the top sites like Big Ben. But based on your personalized interests, you will get completely personalized recommendations on some less famous places to visit that match your interests. And as a result, you have a better experience, and we spread the crowds. Now, the advantage of digital guide is that we can actually measure the success. So, for example, in Prague, we inspire users to spend about 30% of their time outside of the crowded city center by telling them interesting stories about the less visited places. So, every first-time visitor wants to see the highlights, maybe on their first day. But then on the second day and third day in the city, which is the average duration of stay, that's when they are looking for something authentic, something unique, something that they are interested in. And that's where these recommendations really kick in. And I think you can do the math, with the same level of crowdiness, we can basically have 30% more guests in the destination. So that's immense value, or of course, reducing the overcrowding. The good thing about this GPS-based data is that it's very accurate, more than maybe you are used to seeing these heat maps from telco operators. But we have GPS coordinates, of course, in line with GDPR. We consolidate that and aggregate. But we can really zoom in, so you can see on a street level how different demographics of visitors behave, or in different seasons, how they flow through the destination. So you can get very revealing insights on the behavior. Also, when we put it all together, we use this data and the AI personalization profiles to tell destinations how well does their offering of content correspond to what the visitors are looking for. So, for example, here with Karlovy Vary, which is a famous spa town in the Czech Republic, we saw that visitors, not surprisingly, look for recreation, and that was very well covered by the city. But this analysis revealed that many of the travelers were also keen on nature, and the city was not, providing that much information on the beautiful countryside around the city. And there were probably not as many kid-friendly activities for the many families that visited. And actually, they completely, they did not mention anything about the local cuisine. So with this, we can actually help to make the offering of destinations more relevant and therefore increase the number of visitors and the length of stay. So AI localizations may sound kind of dull, but I think there is immense potential in that. Just to illustrate, last summer, I took my entire family on a trip to Spain. And despite all the protests about over-tourism that you could not miss in the media, we never felt crowded. And that's because we went to the less visited places in north of Spain. But my Czech parents then told me that they don't speak much English, and they told me that without me, they would not be able to discover all of these places because they are simply not covered with the content, so that they would go just to the major destinations. And when you look at it, even the top destinations like Barcelona have their website, for example, Barcelona in 4 languages, which only account for half of the visitors' native language. So most of the visitors, they don't get the information in their own language, and good luck with, let's say, Polish or Chinese in north of Spain. Yet it's so easy, and the deep learning made AI translations much better in the last few years. So why don't destinations actually use the translations more? So what we did is we integrated DeepL and some text-to-speech engines. So we can basically now, with a press of a button, make a translation of an entire destination guide with hundreds of places and tours and everything and audios into more than 30 languages. And it costs close to nothing. And if you want to see the quality, you can check it out in the smart guide for Barcelona. So having lots of content, it helps, of course, the visitors who are planning the trip during the trip to discover more places, get these effects of spreading the tourists. But it also helps destinations with the SEO if they publish all of this content on the website. Now, you may be asking why destinations do not do this. I mean, it's very easy technically. And I think the limiting factor, I think I missed that. The limiting factor usually is the mindset. So with printed materials that destinations are used to, you cannot provide AI translations. So the destinations, the DMOs are usually in the mindset that everything must be human translated. And yes, that's true, because if you ask travelers, if they see a mistake in their own language in a printed material, they will get insulted. But online, it works completely different. Travelers are used to having AI translated things online, like Google reviews, for example. But the key is that it must be flagged as AI translation. If you set the expectations right, then actually travelers are completely fine with that. So that's actually what we are doing, and we collect the feedback, and it has been actually very good. Now, to illustrate, I take another Czech famous destination, Pilsen, which, if I say Pilsen, you probably all visualize this. Yeah, that's the Pilsner beer that is basically the gave name to the entire category of pills and beers. And that's, of course, why travelers usually visit Pilsen. And not surprisingly, when you look at where they go, this is where the brewery is located, right? So when you look at, for example, Spanish or French, yes, they go to Pilsen because of the brewery. But now look at the heat map and see what happens when we translated the content about many other places in the city into German. So all of a sudden, we got the tourists and we moved them outside of the brewery and helped them explore the entire city. So with lots of content available in the language that the visitors speak, they come for the beer, but then they discover that there is a lot more, and they stay longer, spend more money, and that's exactly what the destination wants. Okay, so of course, now everyone talks about Gen AI, so we have to talk about Gen AI as well, and there is actually a lot that Gen AI can do, not only in translations, but with copywriting. But we know that there are some pitfalls, and everyone who tried using Gen AI for travel copywriting probably experienced that. So I still remember when we did the first fully AI-generated guide with ChatGPT, you know, after it came up, and I tested the guide in Passau, where we basically told ChatGPT, hey, write me a travel guide for Passau. Then I went to the old town hall in Passau, and there was some nice description, which actually was a nice text. But then I went to the new town hall, and it said, yeah, the new town hall replaced the old town hall, and then it repeated exactly the same stuff about the, that it already told me about the old town hall. And then I was at the main square, and it says, yes, there is the old town hall, new town hall, and it repeated the same stuff again. So it's not as easy as that to use Gen AI to make guides. So what we developed over time, and I think about 500 iterations of prompting, is a 3-layer AI copywriter that now complements the 6,000 human authors that we have on the platform. And what it does is that first, it collects facts from structured but often boring data sources like Wikipedia and credible sources like the official DMO websites. Then we identify the unique and interesting story points to make sure that we have something to say. And if there is not enough meat, we just tell, hey, stop here, don't write the content, because Gen AI is very good in making stuff up if it doesn't have enough meat. So we rather stop it. And then we also make sure that there is not this repetition across the destination and repeating itself that basically I experienced in Passau. And only once we have this, then we use the Gen AI beautiful copywriting, give it some style, and flesh it out into a story. So again, if you want to give it a try, for example, the New York City guide on Smart Guide, if you skip the tours, but all the points of interest are written with this Gen AI, so you can give it a try. Now, what I think is that by combining these traditional sources like Wikipedia and of course all the images or opening hours or GPS coordinates, you don't want Gen AI to make it up, right? So we take it from these open sources to make these guides more fact-based than you would have from just ChatGPT, but at the same time, it's much more engaging than if you just go on Wikipedia. And finally, the kind of holy grail of AI in guiding is itinerary planning. Now, again, chatbots are becoming really popular for itinerary planning, and I don't probably have to tell you the numbers and how they increase. But there are 3 problems when travelers just ask ChatGPT what to do in a destination. So the first problem is that because the neural networks are clustered in the clustering the same information. So they provide the same recommendations to everyone, even though it's worded a little bit differently. And you can see it, for example, when I ask the chatbot, what should I do in Pilsen? It just basically tell me, hey, spend a day or two and visit a brewery, of course. And if you try it on your ChatGPT, you will get pretty much the same result, right? The second problem with this is that even though you train Gen AI on pure facts, just by the nature of the technology, that's why it's generative AI, it basically extrapolates these facts and can make up complete nonsense. So, of course, travelers already realize that, and they are not very comfortable with Gen AI telling them, what actually happened in the destination and guiding them around. And then the third problem is that the output is usually just simple text, even though now ChatGPT can show a map. But it's very difficult to work with the output. What do you do with it? Like, do you copy paste it into a notepad and then, or some Google Keep, and then how do you use it when you travel in the destination? It's quite inconvenient. So what we did, we actually built ChatGPT inside Smart Guide directly, but with a couple of enhancements to address these three issues. So first of all, whenever a user submits a prompt to this chatbot, we automatically on the background append this personalized profile that I talked about before. So when I ask ChatGPT exactly the same question, what should I do in Pilsen? Behind this prompt, we will submit, and I'm interested in this, and that. So as a result, you can interact with the chatbot in a very intuitive way, but everyone gets different results that are personalized. And then you can see it actually here because I travel with kids and the app knows it. So it tells me that I should actually first go to the zoo, which is definitely not amongst the most popular sites in Pilsen. But that's exactly what you want to do. It's relevant for me. It's more relevant with kids than a brewery. And if I go to the zoo, I spend probably at least half day or a day there. So I stay longer in the destination. And that's why it also recommends me to stay 2 to 3 days instead of 1 to 2 days that the generic ChatGPT did. And then when I actually click on the information about the zoo, it's not the content is not generated by the chatbot. It links me to the vetted content from the DMO, from the Pilsner Tourism Board in this case, so that I know that the content I get, the information is correct. And lastly, we add a layer of kind of usability interface around it. So you can listen to the audio, you can bookmark the place, you can navigate to the place, right? You can basically interact with it in a way that is a bit easier. So now we are actually taking it to the next step, and in June we will be releasing a full itinerary planner that builds on top of that, on the chatbot, on the personalization. And we are already testing that basically it creates a fully personalized trip for you based on the location where you are and based on your interest and the time that you have available. So I hope this was some useful inspiration, and if you have any questions, if you put in the chat, we'll try to answer later, but also happy to connect on LinkedIn and take the discussions in more depth. And of course, if you know about any tourism organizations that could benefit from this technology, I will be very grateful if you connect us. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Jan. That was so interesting. I've so many questions. I'd like to finish half the day quizzing and going through them. Alspeta is going to introduce our next speaker now. But thank you again, Jan. It was really insightful and very thought-provoking for sure. Over to you, Alspeta.
Thank you very much, Angela. So it is my pleasure to introduce you Michal Dopita from Telma AI. Michal is a part of the sales team of Telma and is a passionate advocate of modern technologies, growth, and self-development. With over 10 years of experience working with people, he aims to inspire and help others excel in fulfilling their purpose. His career journey has also led him to the hospitality industry, where he gained valuable experience during his travels. His sector is incredibly close to his heart, and he sees AI as a powerful tool to elevate customers' care to a whole new level. Telma AI is a premium provider of conversational AI, including highly customized voice bots, chatbots, and analytical bots for customer communication automation. Telma is part of the MA AI group. So please welcome Michal Dopita from Telma AI.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for the very detailed and nice introduction. So let me share with you a presentation. And so we're going to have a look a little bit more on what was discussed or what was described as the focus of Telma AI, which is conversational AI, voice bots, chatbots, etc. So I'm trying to share now the screen, and let's see how this is gonna work. Okay, there is some issue with sharing, but now it should be good.
Bottom, yeah.
All right, so let me just have a look. I still have issues to share it, but now it should be fine. So let me just check with you if you can see the screen.
Yes,
yep.
You're on.
Everything well, perfect. So thank you for the patience. So we're going to talk about customer experience in AI when it comes to hospitality. And we're going to start a little bit with general questions. So will AI replace humans? So this is a question which we can hear around, like let's say a lot. So let's break this dogma. It's a no. You don't have to worry. There is nothing which would indicate, even through the researches, that actually AI would replace humans, not only in the communication part, but in general. We can see like AI as an enhancement of the human skills, and actually that's a powerful tool how to make our jobs easier. So back to the questions, AI will not replace humans, but people who use AI will replace those who don't. You can see it on daily basis. I don't have, I'm not being naive, so I believe that a lot of you is using nowadays like tools like ChatGPT or Mistral or Claude or whatever. Not only like to get information, but to help you when you are creating some kind of a content, when you are writing emails, maybe when you are doing some stuff for school. So it can be extremely helpful, because it right now it's around, like, let's say 130 to 150 IQ, but it spreads across all the industries, all the fields. So it can be like very powerful tool to help you. So, and naturally, like, also companies that use AI will outperform competitors that don't. And that also goes across the fields. When we are talking about hospitality, we're going to have a closer look on how it influences the customer care, and in general, like the performance of the hotels. So because of the reasons which I just told you, that's the reason why there are smart AI assistants in customer care and in employee care in general, and that's what we focus on in Telma, because it really brings the enhancement of availability of any type of care, customer or employee. So why there is AI in this particular field? What pains and what problems are we solving with that? Like definitely when it comes to waiting times, it's actually big help. Why? Because definitely it happened to not only in hospitality, but maybe when you are talking with your provider of internet services or your phone services, that you wanted to talk to somebody and you needed some help, but you had to wait on the line, and there was that loop of a melody which can be a little bit annoying, and so you have to wait. You don't know when are you going to have the help available. So that's why there are the virtual assistants, because basically what is available now, or what is possible now, that in, let's say, phone or telephony, it is possible to handle thousands of parallel conversations. When it comes to text, like email, chat, maybe WhatsApp or Teams or Slack, we are talking about tons of thousands of parallel conversations. So we are able not only to reduce, but to really eliminate the waiting times. Also, we are helping with the routine. So when it comes to, for example, education or hospitality in general, when we have these type of routine questions, talking about hospitality, we can talk about like what types of rooms do you have available? Do you have a spa in the hotel? When is the opening hours of the spa? Can I bring my dog in there? These type of questions are actually like they are repeating themselves, and they are extremely challenging for the front desk or for the customer care department of the hotels to take care of, because there is a lot of them. So we are helping with that as well. Also, like we are setting the hands of the employees free from stuff like callback on the leads. This is not exactly like a discipline which should be like somehow like very important in the hospitality, but it can be. We are not talking about hotels. We are now here talking about tour operators or maybe travel agencies. So if somebody fills some kind of a form online, or maybe is just clicking on the interest about getting to know the prices of a tour or something like that, it usually is connected that the employees find these interests in some kind of a list in their system. But based on our praxis, usually they don't have time to like react immediately, and that's what matters. Because like if I'm online and I'm looking for a tour and I'm clicking on some or filling up some form, I want the service now, because I want to resolve that. I want to move on, and I need to check the box that I have figured out, like what tour I'm going to take. So that's exactly the reason why we are using the AI here. It is possible to create some kind of outbound scenarios where we are able to react pretty immediately. It's not only in hospitality; it's also in banking and other types of other fields. But connected to that, that's definitely a problem which we are solving, which is connected to the fourth point: limited human resources, and obviously the fifth one, unresolved customer requests. If there is an overload of the requests from the customers or from the hotel guests or anybody else, AI definitely helps with resolving it in no time. So basically, we are talking about real enhancement of the customer care, because you get the help like immediately. And if we are able to get rid of the routine, then basically like the cases which need the human touch and which require like let's say some advanced knowledge of the field, that's where the people are. And actually that's what we are focusing on to basically get rid of the routine and let the people focus on where they are needed. And also connected to that is that we are sometimes meeting clients who are basically outsourcing this type of a customer care communication, which is definitely like a challenge, because it's not only like let's say expensive, but also it is challenging in a way that the external employees are not usually that engaged, or they don't have such knowledge. So basically, like, this is a perfect field where we can help solve customers' problems with the AI. And where we are with AI, basically this type of a graph you can find in any like new technology initial or let's say like when we are in the beginning of providing certain technology, you can always find this curve, meaning like there are people who are innovators, who are able to try the technology, and like they are aware of the risks. And basically then it comes to early adapters, when there is actually the first trials already behind, and they are taking like a little bit less of a risk, and the technology is already has been tried. So, and where are we? We are basically like based on the current research is somewhere around this area. So we are at the end of the early adapters and the beginning of the early majority. You might have noticed, because at this stage there is basically nobody who hasn't heard about AI or hasn't used it, not even once. So when we are talking about individuals, like AI is a buzzword now. When we are talking about companies, we are somehow seeing that we are in the early majority phase. So currently, even in hospitality, more and more hotels and travel agencies, tour operators, and other entities are starting with AI, and this trend is about to rise. So, but when we are talking about starting with AI, how does it work? What do people should do? What the directors or the responsible people in a particular company should ask themselves before they are applying AI? Because what we are from our practice, what we see sometimes there are companies who have like an AI budget. They want to start with AI, and they want to start with it now, but there is no strategy behind that, which can be really challenging, and it can be even dangerous, because it's a way like how to lose a lot of money and not really get any enhancement. So there is a couple of questions which the company should start with, definitely, like what processes do we want to automate in a way that like where we are seeing a lot of automation. You can always think about AI as a junior colleague. So it's somebody who comes to your company, doesn't have any knowledge about the field or about your particular specialty, and we are trying to learn this colleague. So as long as you have a data, we can learn the colleague or teach the colleague pretty quickly, and he can become very useful. What is the advantage? What is the advantage of AI colleague is that he's learning like incredibly fast, and he doesn't miss, like in a way that he doesn't forget. Also, it's always important to think about expectations and set them correctly. So the AI is a very powerful tool, but still it makes mistakes, which also like brings me back to the presentation of my colleague, where he was talking about that there is actually like little bit of a note that it's AI translated. Like this is actually it, but that there are still some minor amounts of percent of cases where the AI isn't really hitting the target correctly. It misses a little bit, but still it's pretty incredible like how accurate it is. So we need to think about like what process we want to automate, where the junior colleague will be most helpful. What is also the motivation? So what should be the desired outcome of it? So are we talking about that we want to save some human resources? Are we connected to that? Are we saving cost, or are we opening a new revenue stream? So where we want to get with AI? What the junior colleague should solve? also, like one of the big ones is where we have the necessary data and in what conditions, because when we are talking about conversational AI and about AI in general, it's crucial that you have the data prepared. So like generative AI, as you also heard in the previous presentation, can create some kind of a text, some kind of a, like, let's say guide, or it can generate the answer, but is it correct really? So for that we need like accurate data set which we can work with. So that's another question. The outcome has to be measurable, of course, which is connected to point number 2, and we have to somehow quantify when the task is correct, and when it has been fulfilled, or when it was fulfilled. So also, like one of the interesting numbers, definitely for me, is the point which you can see at the very bottom. Like the Gartner was doing some type of research for them, and from their expectations, they say that in the next 10 years, the artificial intelligence, which is connected to solving customer requests, will be responsible for 95% of the interaction. So you can see that not even in the next decade there is expected that the AI would take over. So we will still need that warm human touch. Well, about this one, like how we can solve the issues then. So we just talk about like what can be solved. We talked about like what we need to ask ourselves before we start to implement the AI, and now we are talking about the ideal solution for communication, how it should work. We have various at the very top. We have some modalities how we can work with that. So we were talking about text chatbot, through email, through WhatsApp, through Meta, through whatever. We are talking about voice bot. This can be done also like mostly through the phone. We are talking about some AI help desks and analytical bots, which are focused mainly on the employee end, where there is nothing easier than to give a tool to your employees, where they are able to find like all the information they need. Like so if we get some type of a question which can be tricky, like for example, like does this particular room has a TV or satellite access, etc., we can find it also there. So it's definitely like a combination of technologies, the desired solution, which nowadays is like let's say modern trend. So it's not based only on large language models, but it has some layers under that, which these layers are basically securing us that the chatbot, voice bot will not hallucinate, that it will use just the correct information, and we will get the desired outcome. It's always available. So like even if you come home at 11 in the evening and you are just thinking about like asking a hotel about some information because you are planning a vacation, it's always there and you are not waiting, and it's omnichannel. So when we are talking about omnichannel, it can simply mean that you start to write the assistant through web chat, and you are continuing with the conversation through voice bot, and maybe you finish the conversation through the mail. The desired solution should have like some kind of a customer satisfaction rate. This is a number which we are able to hit, and it makes us really happy. And this type of a number should be always measurable. You should always get some type of a outcome and some measurable outcome. We are able to secure like 60 to 80 percent of the routine tasks nowadays through text and voice. So this is also always something like where we are at right now, and what the modern solution should offer. So we are using data, and basically like the learning process means that, for example, from the previous conversations and from the conversation which the assistant is undertaking right now, it's possible to learn from. So basically, like when we are talking with the assistant says, I don't know, I have to transfer you to the live agent, then the customer is resolving the conversation with the live agent. It should be possible to get this type of a conversation back to the assistant, so it learns and gets some new information. The multilingual access is definitely desired. And I talked about the hallucination and jailbreaks, which is a concern in 75% of the cases. Now, everybody who you ask, like, usually is talking about hallucinations because it's a buzzword and because it's present. It's a buzzword for a good reason. So definitely, like, this should be something which the hotels are thinking about, or whichever hospitality entity is thinking about, that there should be some protection. And obviously, like, it is good to always have some like, say intermediator between your software, which the AI can be. So it talks to your PMS, talks to your CRM, talks to your database, and you have, like, let's say, one window into the world of your software. So we're gonna have a look on the use cases which we are solving in hospitality. We're gonna just go through pretty quickly, so we can have time to show you some demos. But in general, like, we are solving FAQs, we are solving reservation management, or some type of substituting digital receptionist. What does it mean? FAQ, we talked about, like, does your hotel have a sauna? What time is the check-in? Now we are, for example, having a use case where we are using a WhatsApp assistant, which is checking with you throughout all the booking process, and is sending you information, like, proactively about the check-in, is offering you some type of services, like, today we have a special in our restaurant, would you like to attend it, would you like to book a table? And you are basically able to handle all your reservation from the check-in, or from the making the reservation, through the check-in, through some ordering some special services during your stay, up to checkout, and eventually also collecting the feedback. So this is all what we can do with AIs, and you can, with the let's say upbringing of the agentic system, we can expect it to be even more personalized, and also it can be more sophisticated, because at the beginning the large language models and the generative AI wasn't really asking you questions. So when you wanted some type of a service, it simply, like, estimated that this is it. And when again my colleague was talking about some type of a personalization, there are also, like, some more steps which can follow. So it works with the profile of the customer.
About it, technical problems, and it can also not only work with the history, but it can also work with some type of a process. So we need to pre-evaluate the customer before we are offering him some service. So this is what the agentic system makes much more easier. And so this would be some like, let's say, basic use case scenario. We can all wrap it up into maybe like a digital receptionist or a hotel assistant. When we are talking about more advanced use cases, when we need definitely some type of access into the database, or we can enhance the employees of the hotel, we are using it for smart searches in databases, in the catalogs. So meaning, like, if we receive the marketing materials or some other materials, we can put it to the database, like, somehow digest it and allow the employees to go through that. Also, it is connected to HR, that the process is able to be taken care of with the AI from the beginning till the end. So basically, like, when we are talking about sourcing CVs, pre-evaluation. So basically, you can see it even in our company. We are pretty proud of that. That when we receive, like, let's say 20 CVs for one position, we use the AI to call the to potential employees, ask them some basic questions, and pre-evaluate them, and then basically get back to them and invite for the interview only those who go through this first part. And Also, there is a analytical bot which allows you to work with the statistics. So you can ask like about like how many hotel guests we had this week, in how many cases there were some issues, or on how many cases like there was a problem with the check-in, etc. So basically, like there's let's say it depends on the customer's fantasy, because it's AI in these days is highly customizable, and only part I will stop by at is the operator assistant in the background, which means that even if we do the transfer, for example, through the voice bot, there is an assistant in the background which allows the agent, your employee, to give you hints, and maybe like when the customer is talking about a certain reservation based on his number, so like through some basic authentication, it is possible to give you hints to the dashboard or to your screen. So there is quite a bit of options. So, and how it can look like, now you can see like pretty easy case. This is just a simple chatbot which is currently helping in one of the Czech hotels, and it's just giving you basic information. This is the FAQ case which we talked about. We can also have a look on some type of email automation. So I told you that we are working with various modalities when it comes to chat, when it comes to email, when it comes to WhatsApp, whatever. So this is particularly case for one hotel chain in UK, where we are working with the basic FAQ through email. And you can see that basically like it doesn't take too much time to receive an answer. We are talking about this video is a little bit speeded up, but we are still talking about seconds. Okay. So as I told you, like when we are talking about some type of a proactive marketing, maybe proactive calling, checking with the guest, like what time is he going to arrive to the hotel, it is possible to use such type of platform where you can in real time see like how the conversations are going, how many cases we managed to connect the call, in how many cases we didn't manage it. It is possible to program like multiple times of calling. It is also possible to add some text, so the conversations then can be easily clustered, and you should have some analytical overview on how the conversations went. And this is actually an example of tailor-made voices which are in Czech, and I'm not really sure if you can hear it. Yes, no? No, doesn't matter. So I would like to send it to you in the follow-up, but actually like we are also working with synthesized voices. So nowadays AI allows you to synthesize a voice which is unrecognizable from the human voice, which brings the possibilities to create, for example, virtual moderators in a radio or other cases. But what it brings like basically to hospitality, that we can really secure that the customer experience is seamless, that is really ergonomic, and that then the customer doesn't really recognize that he's talking with the voice bot, even though we highly recommend and we always use it that we introduce ourselves as a virtual moderator, because we just simply don't want the customer to feel like he's been lied to. Okay. And we are almost at the very end. Here you can see how that scheme might look like. So basically, like this is a little bit more technical, even though really slightly. You receive some kind of a conversation. It goes through some basic PBX or some other type of interface, and we connect you with the AI bot. That AI bot is possible to reach to your backend, to your software, to some type of a knowledge base, and retrieve the information. Use some third party services like large language models and etc. And in the case it's still not resolved, we are connecting to the live operator. And so how it works for the businesses to implement such technologies. Like, it is always good to make some type of analysis in the very beginning. So basically, the company which is providing the AI, even the customer, they get familiar with each other. They get familiar with the playing field, and they can plan how to proceed. Then usually you start with some type of a pilot version, so you can test it. You can iteratively make it better. And so after the testing, there is a go live session, and we are basically using the AI with the full potential. And what is good to know, even if the businesses start with the go live version, there is always some kind of a learning curve. And in the first months, it always should be like automatic that the provider of the AI technology is helping with making it better, and with the learning process, because the real tests are not the employees during the internal testing, but the live customers. And with that, I would like to close this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a blessed day.
Thanks very much, Mikkel. So much content and so interesting, and to see what our future is going to look like. It really, really is mind-blowing at the direction and the speed of it in terms of what's ahead. So now we're going to hand over again to Professor Stanislav. He's going to lead the Q&A and just a bit of general discussion before we close it off at 4:30. So I'll just hand over there to Stanislav. Thanks, Stan.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Patrick, Jan, and Michał. Very inspiring presentation, very thought-provoking, and it's really amazing in the future. Sometimes it looks a little bit scary because hospitality is going to be really transformed and very, how to say, artificially autonomous at one point. While we wait for questions from our audience on YouTube or here on Zoom, I have several questions. First to Patrick. We saw his proposal about for the research, and which is quite relevant. And also, Patrick, you mentioned that many companies, they are in Ireland especially, they are small and medium-sized. So it is this limits their capabilities in terms of artificial intelligence. My question is about what is the impact of ChatGPT and other generative AI applications? Are they democratizing the use of artificial intelligence by decreasing the barriers for their adoption? For example, in terms of skills, in terms of other resources required by the company, finances.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And in my opinion, and I'm only at the early beginning of my research, you know, companies really just need to get to grip with it, because from what I see, employees are using it. So I've seen a case where, and I mentioned it briefly in the presentation, where a document is generated from ChatGPT, where one manager was communicating with another manager. Now, this was not in a company I worked in. It was just a story that I heard from industry. Now, the issue with that, obviously, is your data is being put on the internet. It could be private data leading to data leakage. Other than that, if you, for example, find yourself in a disciplinary process with an employee and are generating documents on ChatGPT, which will give you formal professional documents, but if you have an issue down the road, will this document stand up? You know, if companies don't have any policy, and we found in the research that only 10% of SMEs, like small to medium independent hotels, have any regulation or policy, then it looks like employees are going to start using it anyway, because it's in their pocket, it's on their phone. My wife works for a multinational organization. They have ChatGPT integrated in their operation now. It's fantastic for her. My wife is from Poland. She's here a very long time, but she will use ChatGPT just to check she wants to send a particular formal letter, or she wants to speak to someone in a particular country. Maybe they have an alternative way of describing something, and they have a particular ChatGPT program which has been identified by the company, approved and piloted, and there is regulation around that. And the final example I would give is I'm also involved with a local chamber of commerce, and that chamber of commerce represents predominantly small to medium-sized enterprises. And they recognized, without a large multinational behind them, without a large group, that they needed an AI policy. And through ChatGPT, created an AI policy, rolled it out to its members, and now feel like that there is guidance and protection within that policy. So ChatGPT and these large language models and Gen AI, can greatly enhance how we operate in hospitality. And the final thing I would say about it is, it doesn't have to be standalone where I need to invest in a major piece of AI. Applications like Revinate, which you might have heard of, are already being used by small to medium hotels. They already track the guest journey from, the booking stage. They're at the hotel, and then they leave a review. That all happens through Revinate. They get their confirmation letters and everything. AI now is being integrated so that they can target return guests. Guests who have been likely to use the spa in the past are targeted with offers. Guests who are likely to use the fine dining are targeted with some open bookings that I have available that I need to fill. And in this way, SMEs can very quickly adopt AI. But I just feel like that there is a disconnect. While these applications will transform our industry and we must embrace them, we're just not connecting to keep up with our larger, maybe tech forces, enterprises, and keeping pace with their adoption.
Thank you very much. So we see that companies, they need regulations on how to use generative AI, because their employees will anyway use it, and it's good to have some formal rules within the organization, or because besides the rule, we also have the corporate culture, and as Jan Dolezal said. I put here in my notes, the problem with AI adoption is mindset. I hope I say this correctly. So we have on one side the internal rules and regulations that put structure and limitations. On the other side, we have the mentality of what is good, what is the norm within the industry, what will be useful, and etc. Thank you, Patrick. I'll now ask Jan about the recommendations, the personalized recommendations of the application. You mentioned that the system behind is that the prompt that the customer writes is put on ChatGPT, and there with additional information added based on the interests of the tourists. Am I right about this? Okay. This can such mechanism lead to how to say self-fulfilling prophecy? Like it's good to have personalization, but sometimes this will lead to lack of surprises, which means that let's say I'm interested in particular types of attractions based on what I visited, and then I receive recommendations only on this, and nothing will move me outside of my beaten track. Thank you.
Very good question. And of course, yes, with any personalization, you then end up more and more inside your bubble. And that's actually the same when you look at YouTube, right? Like if you get all these YouTube personalized recommendations on videos to watch, if you are a Democrat, you will not get so many videos supporting Republicans. And so these algorithms pick it up quickly, and then they reinforce this bubble. Now, the way how we, it's still, I believe much better to have recommendations that if you travel across different destinations that match your interests. So yes, I would get maybe a recommendation on a zoo, not only in Pilsen that I mentioned, but also when I go to other destinations, or sometimes they don't have a zoo, but there is a kid-friendly park or some natural area, aqua park, stuff like that. So yes, it recommends that, but to be honest, that's something I actually want it to recommend, right? Because that's what I'm interested in. And then the two mechanisms that we have that we don't you don't end up completely in the bubble is that we always show these top sites that's there for everyone, and these are different in different destinations. And then we also recommend you places that are nearby, because very practically when you travel, you don't want to, maybe there is a place that is a little more relevant for you, but you have to go across the city. But, even though I'm maybe not that much interested in art galleries, if there is a gallery 50 meters away from me and, I want to know about it. So I think this proximity recommendations, they also really contribute to some diversity.
Thank you very much. So when we have all these recommendations and all these AI applications that permeate the whole customer journey, but also they work in the back office, as we saw in your presentation and Michal's presentation, then a question arises, which I would like to ask to Michal, is probably looking a little bit into the future, because you explained in very details how AI could be used to automate different tasks, and many of them they were in for the front of house operations, serving customers. Others were in the back of house. Will human delivered services at one point be the new luxury in tourism? Because we see that if we start automating many of the tasks in the back of house, but also in the front of house, the degree of human interaction in hospitality will probably decrease. So will this result in some form of human to human interaction to be considered as the new luxury?
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting question. And to be honest, no one knows, or at least I don't know, how the future will look like. But it indicates it might be like that, because with the rise of the AI automation, really what we are going to is that most of the cases you will not need a human for. Also, to be honest, when we were talking in Talma with some potential clients, there were already some hotels which were like, no, we are really valuing the personal touch, and we are not planning to implement the AI at this time at all, and we are not even planning it for the future unless it will be absolutely necessary, because we really want to be like the personal approach type of a hotel. So as you said, and as it seems like, it indicates that it might be the luxury, but to be honest, nobody knows. The automation indicates that there will be more and more times where we will not meet the real person, and there is a question whether it's good or bad. But definitely the goal for AI at this very moment is to make the customer experience as seamless as possible.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't see any questions here on Zoom or on YouTube. So probably Angela, if we go back to you. Thank you very much, everyone, for the answers. Thank you.
Thanks very much. So just to move on there, Patrick, onto the last slide. So just a few closing remarks. Well, obviously, first of all, I want to sincerely thank everybody today. So we had a lot of viewers online, over 120 people from 28 countries, which is fantastic. It shows the interest in the content and the interest in our future and where we're going to. I'd like to sincerely thank my colleagues today, as Dr. Elzbieta and Professor Stanislav, for your contributions and all of the work in the background, because it takes a lot to get to this point and to our launch. Of course, to our wonderful speakers who gave their time and such insightful information and thoughts and ideas. First of all, with Patrick Shields, then with Jan Dolezal, and then Mikael Dopia. So thank you very, very much. We really do appreciate it. For those listening and for our colleagues, just to remind you of the Atlas Conference in June, and we have SIG will be at that, looking at tourism. In this case, it was pre our launch today, so the context is tourism and the digital transformation. So we'll be discussing a lot of the areas that we have presented on today. I suppose just to you all, we're trying to get this off the ground. So if you have ideas on future collaborations, opportunities, something that we have missed, insightful pieces of research, we'd be delighted to hear from you. Obviously, always looking to EU funding projects and collaborations and partnerships, and of course with our industry people as well, because you're obviously at the cutting edge of what's happening in industry, and we need to be in tune with you and we need to know what's happening on the ground. It's very important. Horizon Europe have just pre-published the work programme for 2025, and Cluster 4 is digital industry and space, so maybe there's some angle there if any of you would like to connect with us. I suppose most of all, let's keep the momentum going. I think we probably won't be too challenged in that, because the area is so dynamic and so changing and certainly not static, and there's a lot of interest in the area. So please stay in touch. You can connect with us there on the link below through the Atlas, the special interest group. So you can go on the website and you can connect with the various SIGs, but specifically our one today, of course. Put in your ideas and comments, and we'll be in touch with other events as the year progresses as well. So would Dr. Elzbieta like to say anything, final comments, or Professor Stanislav? Have I covered or missed everything? I missed anything, I should say?
No, thank you very much. I just want to thank to the presenters. It was really very interesting, and I hope that everybody who listened to can bring or can take away some useful information, maybe some facts that they heard for the first time. And I think it is a reason why to have such a webinars, and we are very happy to organize it again in the future. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you very much.
Very much, Elzbieta. So I think that leaves, we've all covered off today, and we're not too far behind our time. So I'd like to sincerely thank everyone behind the scenes, Leontine, of course, for helping and encouraging, and also to Dr. Jane for encouraging us to start it, and for, supporting us to get this off the ground. So I look forward to future chats, collaborations, insights, and learnings, most of all, and partnerships with our industry people, because you're there at the forefront. So thank you, everybody, and until next time. Slán from Ireland.